The old Prowlers, there were Prowlers in the file. There still is this old model of a Prowler, but it is for Titanfall. And so we've heard about this before. However, now there's a new file added that actually is labeled Apex Prowler. And so we know this is obviously for the game. And should we just tease these guys what's coming out on the next episode?
Give me a
special guest.
Tease them. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the SquadCast podcast. This is episode number 14. It's been a long time since I've actually started off the intro and ran the podcast, so we're going to jump right into it. We have a lot to talk about and a lot of leaks to go over, some really cool things that we have to talk about with some Prowlers that Luke's going to get into the future. But before we get started, I want to talk about, we just released our SquadCast podcast episode on our Spotify playlist that we just started, our Spotify account, so make sure to go follow the Spotify account that we do have, so you can also get a day early on all of our podcasts. So if you guys want to watch the podcast before they're actually released on YouTube, make sure to go follow it on the Spotify playlist so that you can hear it before it even comes out on YouTube. So that link will also be in the top link in the description. So let's jump right into the podcast. Let's get it. So first off, we're going to talk about these rank splits that we have in Kings Canyon. Kind of a letdown for a lot of people, but also a lot of people are just really excited to play on Kings Canyon again. I myself love Kings Canyon a lot more than World's Edge, but it kind of has its similarities with like loot tables and stuff. Some things are better in Kings Canyon, some things are worse in Kings Canyon. It kind of goes back and forth, but I want to get everybody's opinion on what you think of Kings Canyon and the new rank split, and how do you guys feel about the way they went about this quote-unquote update today?
All right, I'll start it off. I've been playing a lot today, and usually I don't play a lot of ranked. Honestly, it's kind of a trend for me. I play a lot in the beginning and just get up to diamond, and then just basically I stop. Hopefully this time I'll get masters because of Kings Canyon. I really think just having the aspect of playing World's Edge on pubs right now and then having ranked being Kings Canyon, it's going to make me want to play ranked more, just to get that like diversity in gameplay if I'm getting bored of pubs and I don't really want to play ranked just because I'm not really trying to super try hard. I kind of more have a reason to play just because it's World's Edge and I love, or because it's Kings Canyon and I love it. So honestly,
do you think you're better at Kings Canyon than World's Edge?
I'm not too sure. I know the names of Kings Canyon POIs better. I know that for sure. I still don't know all of the World's Edge ones, not gonna lie. I mess them up quite a bit. But the only thing I was disappointed really about this split was, I mean, obviously it was what we expected, but I kind of was hoping for something a little bit more with an actual update rather than just being the new rank split where everybody gets reset and the new ranked mode is Kings Canyon. So I was a bit disappointed we didn't get anything besides that, but at its base, the update or the change, I think it's good so far.
Yeah, I can never turn down Kings Canyon. It's always fun to throw it back and play on Kings.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. The only thing, I do feel like it was a letdown because maybe it's just because I had my expectations too high, but I was really expecting maybe like some weapon nerfs or balances, or some maybe legend nerfs or balances or buffs or something of that nature, maybe an actual like patch and update. And instead it was more like an LTM kind of thing where they just recycled the same season 2 map that we've been using for LTMs for the last like 2 months. So it was a little upsetting because I thought we'd have something a little different. Maybe they would put in a little effort for the split, and we just kind of didn't get anything. But at the end of the day, I'm happier on Kings Canyon than I am on World's Edge, so I can't complain there. But yeah, I mean, not too much to this rank split, so not too much to talk about in that category. Moving on.
What have you seen about the pros, though? What have they been saying about the rank split? It's only had a day.
Yeah, it's been kind of like back and forth too. I saw Nicewig actually say that he likes the loot tables on, he likes not the loot tables. He likes the loot on World's Edge better than he does Kings Canyon, but he likes certain aspects of Kings Canyon than he does World's Edge. So it kind of go like, I think QZ just completely hates World's Edge and likes Kings Canyon. So I mean, a lot of people have mixed opinions about it.
They had that C9 PvP. He said 10 plus hours on KC ranked. Thoughts: I had the least amount of fun I've had in Apex in the past year. So I mean, you have pros just all over the place.
I mean,
some love it, some hate it.
There's so many different aspects that, like, does he mean he's just not having fun because of Kings Canyon? Because if so, then understandable. But like, he could just not be having fun because 10 hours straight of playing ranked.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Pretty
And then
intense.
Nicewig did just tweet out. He said, "It makes my heart. It hurts my heart seeing everyone get off so early from the new rank split dropping. Last season, everyone stayed on for 15 plus hours." So he's saying that all the pros pretty much just stopped playing the ranked earlier for whatever reason. I mean, who knows what the situation is there? I think we'll start hearing about it more as time goes on. But it's just like Miles was saying, I was also hoping for a lot of changes today because this is the patch day. I got on right at 10 a.m. Like, all right, let's see what's new. Nothing.
Exactly.
It's just like we just haven't heard anything. The last patch was what, March 5th or something like that. Like it was the beginning of this month, and we just haven't heard anything really from them.
And
So I don't know. It seems weird.
I was expecting, with this being a rank split, it's it's kind of a big deal. If you also look at it, it's the start of a new series, so like I thought maybe they would, pay a little bit more attention to say, hey, we're gonna implement a new little change, a little meta change, or swap it up a little bit. But it was literally
hype it up a little bit more.
It was nothing. It was just and they've been adding so many LTMs lately. Like, hey, here's Kings Canyon for 2 days. Hey, here's Kings Canyon for a week. So it's like it's almost to the point now. It's you're kind of used to Kings Canyon being there in some way or some fashion. So I wonder if a lot of people even kind of were informed. I mean, it's not like they've been tweeting out like consistently, hey, don't forget about the new rank split coming out today. They've just kind of just been sitting in the back, I guess, just letting the game do its thing.
Well, they tweeted out about it. I mean, but it was just a link to what we already knew about, like a previous announcement explaining all of what's going on with the rank split and all that. So I definitely see what you mean.
Yeah, I think it's weird because we know that there's a teaser coming out, so maybe the listeners don't know that, but there's a teaser at the end of this month for the Bloodhound Town takeover that's going to go ahead and start. And right. I have a feeling they're just sitting there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so I think that might be what they're doing. They're just sitting back and they're waiting for that time to come and for that teaser to activate. And then they know the hype will start coming back, as that always brings hypes to see stuff like that happen, especially with the full events like the town takeovers. Always a lot of hype around that.
Yeah, when they drop a lot of stuff at once.
Yeah. So I think that's probably what we're seeing but it is crazy that the last patch was March. I just checked. I'm pretty sure it's March 5th. And so this is quite a while. You have multiple weeks where we don't really hear from them. So I don't know. I'm excited for the town takeover to start up, at least the teasers. So at least we get some hype.
So do you guys think that at this point, I was kind of thinking previously that the town takeover might have been on Kings Canyon, but at this point, I'm kind of thinking it's going to be a World's Edge map change. What do you guys think about that?
That one's honestly, a toss-up for me.
Yeah,
because just how much love they've been showing Kings Canyon just by bringing it back multiple times makes me think that it could happen on Kings Canyon. But then I also have another side of my brain and a different thought process, which thinks they worked on a new map, World's Edge. Maybe they want it to happen on there. So for me, it's kind of.
And they've only had one town takeover as of right now for World's Edge, so it would make sense to.
And I look at it like this: like ranked is obviously important, but at the same time, I feel like ranked is an addition. Like ranked is not the base game. Ranked is just an addition. And what says play with the map that says play Apex, the traditional generic game. I feel like that's what their major updates are going to go to, whatever is the
100%.
So with World's Edge being the game under play Apex, the traditional, I think that's what it's going to go to on World's Edge. And like you said, there's only been one on World's Edge so far, but it's kind of weird the way they're treating the rank scene, the esports scene. I've been since I started, I've been all about. I used to be completely, oh bro, like the Gauntlet's cool, but I don't care about the Gauntlet. I want ranked, or I want a better ranked series. I want this. It was all about ranked, but now I'm at the point where I just enjoy playing the game for fun, casually, maybe like being at a higher level sometimes, but I just enjoy, I'm more excited about the Bloodhound Town takeover than anything that has to do with ranked. That I've never been this excited about just some generic, just simple content. So,
right. You're starting to see how content is important. Whereas Counter-Strike, it was more about the ranked level and the tournaments and all the aspect they put in that, while there's no new content ever until CSGO started doing all their crazy stuff. But this is completely different now. We're in like another world where we just need content all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And so on March 31st at 10 a.m., guys, that's when the first Bloodhound Town teaser is going to start.
Yeah, I think allegedly, but I think Counter-Strike can do that because they're like it's such a classic game. They have such a for lack of a better word, like a discography. Like Counter-Strike's been around longer than I've been alive. Like people love this game, and that's why they can do well with not having to push out constant content and new updates and things like that. As for BRs, they haven't been around that long, a couple years maybe, and so they're forced to constantly put out more content.
Well, and BRs also attract people already who want action, fast. So it's kind of caters to that. They need content because they just want it all the time.
Yep,
exactly. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough market because I know it's very demanding when you have BRs that are as big as they are, and you have so many people that are just constantly screaming, "We want this, we want this, we want this." But I just hope that Respawn is seeing the need. Like, it's not just requests. It's not just, a bunch of fans getting all riled up. Like, it's really needed. The things that we're asking are really crucial for Apex's, survival in order to continuously not just stay alive, not just stay relevant, but to get big. Like, that's what we want. We don't want Apex to just stick around. We want Apex to blow up again. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm really hoping that they're going to see from this.
I think personally right now, they've been doing great, at least better than what I previously thought they would ever get to at a point of content being pushed out consistently. Respawn has done pretty well. When I think back into season 1, I can't even imagine what I would be thinking if back then I had the amount of content we've had this season, because back in season 1, we literally had pretty much nothing throughout the entire season. So the fact that they've progressed like that is absolutely amazing. But I definitely think the not newer, but just a different aspect and route they can take into trying to grow the game really is, I've said this before and I'll probably say it again, is esports in the competitive scene. And obviously it's great. We've seen they've been focusing on, they had the rank split, which is awesome, great and all that. But I do think the esports scene needs to be a little bit more focused on. If you guys didn't know, we did just have the ALGS.
That's the problem. A lot of people didn't know.
2. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know. That's actually a really good point. The Apex Legends Global Series online tournament number 2 happened. What was it? Yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, it was. I want to say it was yesterday. I think it was last night.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like Respawn isn't doing a super good job at promoting these tournaments. They even if it's just a pop-up, right when you start up Apex, saying the ALGS online tournament number 2 is going on today, watch here at twitch.tv or whatever. I think they should advertise it a little bit more.
No,
because they have that system for a lot of stuff. They didn't use it for the wow.
I know, when I got on, I had a huge notification about the ranked split and all that stuff. That's the kind of stuff that needs to be previewing. Hey, there's a live stream right now of the ALGS online tournament global series, whatever. That stuff needs to be promoted because it's important for the games, for the game to be relevant, in the future, to continuously grow, and people want to watch this game. It has to, in order for this game to grow, it doesn't need just a big player base. It needs a consistent viewership amongst Twitch and people that are actually showing interest in this game through content. So I think they really need to buckle down on esports and make it better than what it is.
I definitely agree with you there. It's kind of hard to say that, and then right now I think well, they can't really do anything, especially since we can't actually have any LANs or anything like that as of right now. But then I think about the fact that obviously we kind of have some sort of aspect of it right now with ALGS being able to actually just play online and being able to get to a major and an actual tourney just playing, which is absolutely awesome. But again, we just said, even the smallest thing, an announcement about a tournament that's going on would be huge in game. But I think obviously what Fortnite had or has, we've talked about this previously, with pop-up cups and all that, being able to actually just everybody that plays the game, it's in a part of the game, like it's a tournament.
Exactly.
Thing. You have rewards, and it's not just ranked where you're seeing your number increase after winning 5 games in a row. It's where you're actually getting some sort of reward, which I think just would obviously make people want to play more.
I mean,
have
just
more
imagine
It gives them incentive.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine being at school and then like you just tell your buddy like, hey man, like there's gonna be a pop-up cup or whatever you want to call it for Apex tonight. It's it's a duos version or it's a solos version. Why don't we play the duos one together, or why don't we get so and so to hop on with us and we'll play the squad one together. If you win, you get X amount of dollars, or if you win, you get a cool skin plus this and plus an heirloom or whatever. I don't know. Like obviously an heirloom's probably too much, but I'm just saying like there's got to be some incentive to want to play these modes that not only do Respawn needs to bring because they're successful, but because man they're in such high demand. Like I don't understand why solos and duos were so popular. Like people loved solos, people loved duos. Now granted solos had some issues, but even though they know that they worked out so well and that they were so popular, they still have not implemented them into the game. Like, why are we in almost coming up on season 5? Solos was back in season 2, and we haven't had like hardly. I don't think we've had anything regarding solos late since it came out. And then duos, we had a Gold Rush duos I think once, and then that was pretty much it. But it just doesn't make sense as to why they know we want it so bad. And this is something people have been demanding since the game come out, and we still don't have anything.
I kind of feel bad complaining about it, but it really is like
all Miles does is complain.
yeah, exactly. You guys got to call him out in the comments.
Yeah. Go for sure. Make sure you comment down below. Let us know that all we do is complain.
Miles is toxic.
I mean, we're just keeping it.
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, like, if you guys had the option to get on and play duos instead of having to get a third who doesn't know what he's doing, or to play solos because you don't feel like having to carry your teammates, you just want to relax and just play by yourself and not have to 1v3 everybody. I mean, you would have more fun with the game. It's as simple as that. But you can't support all of those. You can't support all that. That's where everything ties together. You can't support all those game modes until you get crossplay, and you can't get crossplay until you fix the situation you have with Origin, and then you have to transfer over to Steam. And we already had that leak about like with the conference call like months ago, which
not
never
a leak.
happened.
It was just an EA conference.
An EA conference call. I mean, like so many things have tied in together, and for one thing to happen, another thing has to happen, and another thing, and so it's just a big puzzle piece.
That kind of makes me think like all these things we've heard about in the EA conference calls in the past, and this has been like months and months in the past now at this point, like mobile and crossplay, as well as obviously they talked about the tourneys and all that. But I'm blanking right now. They were talking about
they talked about us being on Steam, about
Steam.
it coming to Steam, and it didn't.
Thank you.
It said the beginning of 2020 it'll be on Steam. No.
Wait, they said beginning of 2020?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And they said that
they said like a time period and it's past that sucks.
Yeah, they said this year, and I think they said the beginning, and then dev specified. I think it was either they said it in the call or dev specified from Respawn that would be the beginning of 2020. But I don't even think their Star Wars game made it over, did it? I don't know for sure.
I don't think it did.
But that was supposed to be the first thing that went over onto the Steam platform was their Star Wars. I don't know if it is over there. I'm sure you guys can let me know down in the comments. But if that's not there, then they might have had some big problem.
And
I want to check right now.
I started to think too the other day because I had someone in my Twitch chat say that Drew McCoy said like made this comment, and when he left, when
Drew McCoy for people who don't know,
Drew McCoy for people that don't know is he was on at Respawn as a developer and then left Respawn. He's one of the biggest ones. He was like
lead project manager.
He was the one that definitely got us ranked, things like that. He was like the forefront of like the guy who was pushing for ranked over at Respawn because he was all about esports. But then he ends up leaving Respawn just a couple
and didn't go anywhere else.
And he left Respawn a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month ago now. And he said, I heard in this comment that he said that he did not see a future in Apex. I'm not sure if that's true, but that's what people were telling me, that he made the comment that he did not see the future. And it came out in like the prime time of season 4. Like this was just a couple weeks ago. So after a big release of Revenant, a big release of this update for season 4, then he makes this decision to leave. It makes you wonder, what is it going on behind closed doors that we don't see that could cause him to make that decision to leave.
Right. It was kind of strange that he left and he didn't leave to join another company like most of the people we see leave Respawn. It's to join another company. Yeah. He didn't leave to join another company. He just
that's the weird part. That's the weird part.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't really want to speculate too much on that type of stuff, just because
it could be anything.
It could be anything, but
like it could be money related, family related. It could be game related. It could be
whatever
anything.
it may be. No matter what, if you look at it, it does kind of just bring up some questions. Makes you think like what's going on and what's happening. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. I'm not too sure, really. I didn't even know he was like the guy that pushed for ranked and all that. I just know like Drew McCoy was like pretty much the face of like updates and anything new in Apex, like with announcements and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it is pretty disappointing to have had to see him leave. But I mean, we'll just see where it goes in the future, which makes me think about leaks. So I wanted to talk obviously about some leaks. Loot, you tweeted out a few days ago, I made a video on this, files showing a Pathfinder heirloom melee Easter and then a Pathfinder heirloom melee Easter sprint. So what do you think that is?
So those are actually labeled as animation, and then what that means is that Pathfinder is getting a unique animation. So what it would normally be is just Pathfinder heirloom melee, and that'll be an animation of him like doing the striking, or he'll punch he'll punch his gloves out or whatever. There's different ones that are marked for different animations. And since this one is marked Easter, what that means is that there's something physically either really different about his heirloom during Easter, which means his skin is changing, or they're giving him a completely unique animation just for this Easter change. So like one of the things I speculated was maybe he is an Easter bunny. He's holding eggs instead of having gloves. And so when he attacks, he like cracks them on people's head or something. It's going to be a completely different animation is my guess. Or the heirloom is getting skinned and will be completely different.
That would be a cool
exactly. That would be absolutely awesome.
What I would question to you guys is, what do you think about skins coming that actually change up the animation of the characters? And so no longer will you pull out your Wraith Kunai and look at it in a certain way. Instead, the Wraith Kunai will look different. You'll have a completely different animation and everything. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's cool as long as there's no advantage from it. Like I think, what was it? There was like some kind of emote back or I think maybe it was like H1Z1, I want to say, or Fortnite or something, where you could perform this emote, maybe even PUBG. And by doing this emote, you could get an advantage by being able to peek around the corner without showing your body. And as long as it doesn't implement some kind of animation that gives you like an edge on an advantage or something in the game, I'm fine with it. It's actually a pretty cool idea. But just to clarify, these animations are not the same as the dance emotes that you had leaked, are they?
No, they are not. These are just for the heirloom.
Oh, okay.
The fact that it's Easter based, it kind of makes me think that there could be some sort of Easter event happening in the future.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely points at there's going to be an Easter event, because it's telling us that he's getting a unique animation just for Easter. I mean, so it's pretty clear we're going to have an event.
But here's this: if the Bloodhound Town Takeover tease comes out on the 31st. Could it be that the Bloodhound Town Takeover will be the town takeover of the Easter event that we will be getting a few weeks later?
Yeah, I think that's completely possible. I mean, that's how we saw. Which one was it that was like that? Was it the Halloween one? They usually do like a town. They can stack them like that. So we might be seeing it where it's stacked like that. I mean, I imagine with this giant. I mean, I know it wasn't really a lull of content this month, but it was just repetitive content, so it didn't really seem unique and everything. So I imagine that they could hit us with two things, but it's most likely that it's just gonna be one giant town takeover event plus an Easter event stacked on top of it.
Maybe, yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely would be extremely surprised. Like, take out all the leaks and all that. I would be very surprised if they just did nothing for Easter. It just seems like a given, like an obvious type of thing, like perfect time for an event or something like that. Obviously, they had the Christmas one, so why not have an Easter one like with Halloween and all that? So definitely looking like we will see an Easter event, hopefully at least. And as of right now, is that the only thing in the files that points towards anything Easter?
So I did have something before in one of the patches about like a month or two ago that I told you guys about, not on the podcast though. And it seems like it's been removed from the files. So in this most recent patch, they tried to clean up a lot of what was put into it. They did make a lot of mistakes. So a lot of things leaked out that shouldn't have, but nothing about it.
I mean, just because it's gone now doesn't that it's not going to happen. Don't.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it always could.
And shit, just because it's in there doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Also true. Yeah, totally true.
100%. Yeah. Again, I always want to say this because people have done this to me for a long time. Like, this is 100% not confirmed as of right now. It's speculation, obviously based on files and all that. But again, talking about files, this is something that you've been kind of tweeting out and teasing on your Twitter for like a week or so, Lou, is Prowlers, which is something that I've correlated with Apex and the potential for future content with Prowlers for a very long time now, back when a lot of speculation was going around about leaks for PvE mode or some sort of thing like that. I was thinking Prowlers might be something back then, and obviously it's been a really long time at this point, but you've recently found some new things for Prowlers, right?
Yeah, correct. So the old Prowlers, there were Prowlers in the file. There still is this old model of a Prowler, but it is for Titanfall. And so we've heard about this before. However, now there's a new file added that actually is labeled Apex Prowler. And so we know this is obviously for the game. And it has like 3 variations. The Prowlers all have different colors, and they have a ton of animations. So there's animations of the Prowlers like similar to the Flyers, where they're like kind of perched up. I'm not saying that at a height, but they're like standing up and they're searching and looking around. The only difference is these Prowlers appear to come and attack, as in they attack players. So can you imagine being third-partied by these? Like, there's animations where I'm seeing them. I'm seeing them run across a distance and then crawling into windows of buildings. So I just think it'd be hilarious if, and I know the pros would hate it, and that would make me laugh even more, is if you see it, like a pro get third-party by a Prowler or something.
I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a new LTM.
Yeah.
Now
Most likely it would be an LTM just because it would piss the pros off, but I don't know for sure. It could be linked to Bloodhound. Bloodhound's like backstory. They have a connection with animals as one of their backstory things. So just keep that in mind. It could have something to do with that.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that exactly. So obviously we were just talking about the Bloodhound Town takeover. Now, have you guys seen the picture? It's been out since the beginning of the game. It's kind of like just a normal wallpaper type art. I'm not too sure if it's a loading screen or anything, but it's the only time I think we've seen anything official with Prowlers in Apex. And I'm pretty positive it is Bloodhound stabbing or attacking a Prowler in the image. So we'll show that on screen for those of you who are watching on YouTube. But that definitely makes me think that's obviously a possibility that Prowlers are what's going to be a part of Bloodhound's Town takeover. Obviously, like with the Season 2 map changes, that's when the Flyers came in, or I guess technically before that, they kind of teased it with the Flyers, and then came the big map changes. That was like a season update, but obviously they could be implementing Prowlers.
Do you think that would be too much, though, if the Prowlers attacked people, or what do you guys think about the Prowlers being actually on?
They would have to have very high standards to engage an attack. Like, you can't just have Prowlers hearing gunshots and start running and chasing people and killing them. That would be, I mean, you'd have to be like really close to the Prowler, or
engage them, maybe shoot at them
or something.
Maybe you're the one chasing the Prowler.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's always possible too.
Yeah, maybe they have loot backpacks, almost like with the how they carry them around. But I mean,
So,
I'm excited to see what it is. What were you gonna say?
well, I was going to say, so there's definitely animations where the Prowler is killing something or attacking something and then celebrating about killing it, chasing
wow.
down something. Like I said, crawling into buildings and stuff. So, and it has a lot of different animations for how it's killed. So, there definitely going to be a lot of engagement with this compared to the flyers. And I don't know. I'm excited for it because it's just something different.
I'm definitely excited for it. I mean, we haven't had any type of implementation of anything like that since Flyers, and I love that type of aspect. When Flyers came in, I thought it was so cool. They were completely teasing everything. We didn't even know what was going on, so I'd really like to see some sort of like teaser type aspect come along with the Prowlers, which I think would just make it all the more better. But I do want to talk about the SquadCast question of the podcast. Today we have the question from, let me get it here. It is from JJ. So before I get into the question, thank you
Shout out
JJ so
JJ.
much for commenting your question. Thank you so much. Shout out JJ. But if you guys want your question answered, all you have to do is comment down below #question, and we will feature a question in the next podcast, answer it, and shout you guys out. So make sure to comment down below with #question. Now let's get into JJ's question. He said, with the recent legend buffs to Bloodhound and Crypto, do you think there should be more big buffs to legends to switch up the meta and give each legend some more love? What would you do, e.g., Mirage or Octane? So I'm definitely curious to hear your guys' opinions on this because I have a lot to say about it.
I can already I can summarize exactly what Lute's going to say right here. Buff Mirage. That's what he's going to say. Am I right?
It definitely needs a buff, yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be good for I think it would be good for Respawn to change it up a little bit, and instead of trying to balance Wraith, Pathfinder, and whoever the third that they want to be, I think that they should have like a rotation of things. Like, so whenever they add a new legend in, obviously that new legend, I think for marketing purposes, for the game to be flourishing at its best, so people are more hyped about the new legend, the new season and stuff, I think that the new legend should be one of the best legends to use and should be really good and should not be like a letdown. And then also I believe that instead of keeping it Wraith, Pathfinder all the time, I think maybe they should do more like nerfs and buffs that make more sense or that are more beneficial to the game. So maybe swapping out and rotating legends that are in the rank system that are being used as far as the meta goes. So instead of it being Wraith, Path, and Watson or Gibby, it could maybe swap it up a little bit, maybe buff Octane and Mirage, and maybe the meta could be a little different. People would play differently. People wouldn't be able to camp with Watson as much as they do because you can't hold off those angles in those buildings. So it would regard a more aggressive play style for ranked and esports and things like that. So they have so much control with there being, all kind of different legends with different abilities. I think they need to take advantage of that by cycling out the meta so we have something different in a game that feels fresh all the time.
Sheesh, I definitely agree with you there. I would like to see them kind of, like you said, rotating out like the top legends that are being consistently played and ranked. Like to have some meta change in that would definitely be pretty nice. And honestly, I think maybe a bit more skill based, because like if you're just one person maining a character, and obviously it's good to do that if you're playing competitively and things like that. If you want to get really good, obviously have the least amount of variety as possible and just practice and practice and practice. But also a good way to like obviously test skill and not just see if somebody can hit their teleport and just phase out and just dip out and things like that. See if they can actually switch up their legend and play the more powerful one, because at that point it would be better. And just to see the different play styles, I think that would be nice just to switch up the meta. But as for specifically which legend I would want to have them give some more love to, would definitely be Octane. And I was going to say Bloodhound, but then my brain reminded me Bloodhound is actually really good right now. So as of right now, I would definitely say Octane, especially since the heirloom did just come out and I was a little bit disappointed with the animation. And I've always been disappointed with his abilities, to be honest. So I'd like to see some sort of buff coming towards Octane, but that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I think there's every character besides the main three that could use adjustments. The problem is that a lot of them aren't really meant to be good team playing characters. Like Wraith, everyone thinks of Wraith as just being really efficient, an assault character, but she has the portal. She can bring her team around. She can warn her team. Like Mirage, Octane, they can't really do stuff like that besides the jump pad, but that's kind of whack. So make yourself a flying duck, so it's just like you said, they would have to be super buffed, like a lot, in order to make them a viable assault character to where they're really strong and they can get in.
Yeah, I don't know if we'd want every character to get buffed and have them all be assault characters, because there are different rules, like you said, for like Lifeline, where Lifeline's more of a support based legend, but still I can see where you're coming from, where Octane needs a buff, Mirage needs a buff.
Yeah, we did just see a bunch of buffs and nerfs though, and as of right now, I'm kind of liking where the legends are at currently, like balance wise and meta wise. I like where we're at as of right now. I don't think anybody's really super OP, although obviously there are a few that could use some love, but I hope we answered your question to the best of our ability, JJ. So shout out to you for that question of the podcast. And again, guys, make sure to comment down below if you guys are watching on YouTube, #question and then a question, to have the chance of getting your question answered on the next podcast, as well as a shout out. So definitely make sure to do that. And before we end it off, I want to remind you guys, we are now on Spotify. We'll be on iTunes very soon. We'll give you an announcement when that happens, but we are on Spotify. It'll be the top link in the description. Make sure to go check that out. Follow the channel, the podcast channel on Spotify, so you guys can see a podcast, all of our podcasts, a day before they come out on YouTube. So you get some extra content, and obviously the audio version of the podcast is just as good as the YouTube. So definitely make sure to check out that Spotify link down in the description. And as always, if you guys did enjoy the podcast, make sure to hit that like button. It really does help us out a ton. And obviously hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Yeah, we're almost at 9K. Thank you guys so much for the support. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Don't miss out on another podcast. But I think we're going to go ahead and end it off here. It's been your boy Sathley and the homies at the SquadCast, and we out.
You know what? One thing before we go, should we just tease these guys what's coming out on the next episode?
Give me
a special guest.
Tease them. A special guest who has a magnificent accent.
Magnificent.
Oh my gosh, Miles.
That's all we can say. That's all we can say.
Oh,
we're just gonna leave it off there.
It's gonna be electrifying, guys. Just make sure you're there. Make sure you sub, turn the notifications
definitely
on.
Will be pretty shocking, but yeah, make sure to hit that sub button so you don't miss out on the next one.
Currently not here.
We're giving away too much. We're giving away too much. That was SquadCast Podcast episode 14, and we're out. Later, guys.
Later.
See ya.